Yo, it's Straight Up Raider back here with another video for y'all. I just wanted to touch base on a few things. I ain't been on here in a while, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry I didn't get them videos down there at Orlando that I said I was going to, because some shit happened and I wasn't allowed to record and post videos due to some permit thing or some shit. But I just wanted to touch base and say Happy New Year's to you guys, and I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. And I know I ain't had time to make a whole lot of videos, and I hope you guys ain't mad about that. But lately I just been chilling with my girl here at the house, with her and my baby boy, and it's been pretty good. Had trouble with my car. The passenger side motor mount busted off. All the rubber bushing was inside the mount broke off. Call me a sissy today, guys. Living on some skull apple. Fuck it. Just wanted a little bit of a change up, you know. It's not been too awful bad. You know, had to spend a little bit of time up in Morgantown. And, see what happened was we went to the appointment here in town. And, we went to the hospital. And it was just a normal checkup, you know. So we went in, and, the doctor started taking my girl's blood pressure and whatnot. And, her blood pressure was really, really sky high, man. Just really sky high. And so, well, it wasn't the doctor, it was the nurse. So the nurse goes out and brings the doctor in. The doctor comes in and rechecks her blood pressure, and blood pressure is still high. Okay, so what happened after that is, they started running some tests, pumping some IVs, trying to get the blood pressure down. The blood pressure wouldn't go down. So they diagnosed her with severe preeclampsia and sent us to Morgantown. So they started getting the ambulance ready and whatnot. And so they take her out, they put her in the ambulance, and they send her to Morgantown. And so I get in the car, and we ride up to Morgantown. I grab a bunch of stuff and just hop in the car and take off. And so I get up there, and everything's going good. They start giving her these tablets and whatnot to try to induce labor and keep her blood pressure down. And due to the fact that she was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia, they had to, you know, start inducing labor to keep her and the baby safe. And so they start doing that, and they put her on this magnesium drip. And I don't know if any of you guys know what that magnesium shit is, but that's some wicked shit. It's bad. It drained all her energy. It got in the baby system and drained all his energy. He was practically asleep for the first few days, like consistently. Like, he pretty much slept the whole time. And finally, after the mag started wearing off, it was okay. They were both doing good. And so back to the story. I got sidetracked, but back to the story, guys. We after they started trying to induce labor, it was taking too long, and they finally got her dilated from a 1 up to a 6. And so the doctor comes in, and she says, would you be okay if I break your water? And she said, yeah, go ahead. And at this point, we had already had the epidural and everything done. Which reminds me, I'm going to skip back for a minute and talk about this epidural for a minute. So, as they was putting the epidural in, the doctors come in, and they swore up and down that they were all like certified anesthesiologists. Well, I think, and we both talked about it, but we think that them guys were like maybe doctors in training or some shit, because as the old doctor was standing behind the younger man kept sticking that needle. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, that needle's fucking like that long, like it's huge. And so they stick it in her back, and the doctor behind the younger guy is standing there. He's like, do you think that's in the right spot? And I'm like, and the doctor said, are you sure that's in the right spot? And he said, yeah. So he goes ahead and he starts to put the needle in. And the whole syringe fills up with blood and whatnot. And it was bad. Like, I didn't know what to do. And so he pulls the needle back out. And the doctor starts asking him more questions and whatnot. And so they whisper back and forth for a couple minutes, and they go back at it again. So the younger guy again picks up a new needle, sticks it in her back. And they were struggling trying to put it in there. And he pulled the needle back out again for a second time. Okay, and so the older doctor steps up, and he said he's going to take over and he's going to do it. And mind you, this is a very dangerous procedure. If you put that needle in the wrong spot, they could end up paralyzed. Okay, so the older doctor steps up and he goes and he puts it in. Takes probably 5 minutes after this point, and so they put the needle in, and they get the little IV hose for the epidural. And they slide it through and they pull the needle out. Okay. And so at this point, we get her laid down and whatnot. And they start pumping the epidural into her. And by this point, everything below the waist is completely numb. That's what an epidural does. And so we're sitting there. And on Friday the 13th, it's like 1:28 in the morning, right? And that's when the doctor came in and asked if they could break her water. So they do, and they break her water. And the umbilical cord come out first. Oh shit, right? So at first I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what happened because everybody just got so quiet. The doctor jumped up on the bed with her, and everybody was all quiet. And the other nurse picked up the phone, and she dialed out some code or whatnot. In 1 second, there's like me, her mom, and a nurse and a doctor and her in the room. And then the next second, there's like 15 doctors and anesthesiologists and all kinds of people just running around. And, I mean, I've never seen nobody move so fast in my life. And at that point, they rush her out of the room, and they said that they said they was pulling an emergency C-section. So they rushed her out of the room. They took off down hallway. They said that neither me or her mom wasn't allowed back there. Okay, so they go back and they run the procedure and whatnot. And I'm sitting there pacing back and forth, run out of dip, so I'm losing my mind. I'm running back and forth, not knowing what's going on. The nurses and the doctors wouldn't come in and explain to me what was going on. So, like, you could only imagine I was freaking the fuck out, you know? And so, here about an hour or so later, I'm standing out in the hallway waiting for a nurse or somebody to walk by so I can ask them what the fuck's going on. And so this nurse comes and she tells me that she's coming to give me an update and that they're both doing fine. And told me that my baby boy was born on Friday the 13th at 2:33 in the morning. 2:32, my bad. And he come out at 18 and a half inches long. And he was 6 pounds, 1.4 ounces. So he's a pretty decent sized baby, you know what I mean? And so the nurse tells me that I can go back and see my son. So I followed the nurse back, and the nurse takes some pictures with my phone. And they was explaining to me that he was on a CPAP machine because he was early. He was born early, and he just needed a little help with breathing for a day or so. Well, they said that he might be on a CPAP for a week at first, you know what I mean? And so they take him, they clean him up, and they take him back to the NICU, and they told me that I had to leave the room. So I leave the room, they take him and they clean him up. They take him back to NICU, so I want to go see his mom. I go see my girl. She's still a little out of it from the anesthesia, and so she's still kind of out of it and whatnot, and so I stayed with her for a little bit. Me and her mom stayed with her for a little bit, and then I went over to the NICU to go check on my boy. And I get over there. He's doing all right. He's breathing okay. I mean, he's still on the CPAP, and they had given him a feeding tube down the nose. Well, at first they had it in his mouth, and it kept gagging him whenever they was putting food down it, and it kept making him spit up and whatnot. And so they moved the tube and they took it out of his mouth and ran it down his nose, and he was on that feeding tube for about a week. And everybody was wanting me to come home and go back to work and whatnot. But I'm getting paid to be off and spend time with my family, you know. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go and work my ass off when I ain't got to, because I'm getting paid anyways. Okay. So, like I said, we was up in Morgantown for about a week. And after everything was all said and done, they let us come home. And here we sit here at the house. And we're doing all right. We're all chilling. And just so that y'all know, we did have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Baby Trey got all kinds of presents. He's just a happy little fella. And I hope y'all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I mean, I kind of a little rambled on about myself, but just wanted to touch base with y'all and give y'all an update. If you liked the video, hit like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to catch a notification when I upload new videos. This has been another Straight Up Raider video, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.